Did you know that 80% of people give up on their goals because of setting unrealistic expectations? In this video, I'm going to be going through some ways to avoid this trap if you are doing the Dr. Joe Dispenza meditations, you're reading the book, and you're trying to implement his work into your life. I'm going to be going through some ways in which you can set some expectations for yourself, which is going to help you to avoid get disheartened, to stop doing this work, and to ultimately stop you from giving up. The first step to setting realistic expectations is to understand the concepts. So if you haven't read all of his books, if you haven't read Break the Habit of Being Yourself and Becoming Supernatural, Evolve Your Brain, then it's going to be difficult to understand what he's actually talking about in the meditations. So those books lay the foundations for explaining quantum physics. They explain the mind-body connection. They explain how our personalities are formed from our personal realities. So it is key to understand the concepts with this work. And I didn't have a background in quantum physics. I'd never read anything like these books before. So it took me quite a long time to understand the concepts. So that might be the same for you. If this is all completely new, then it's going to take you time to understand all the concepts. So you've got to allow, weeks and months for that information to embed. You've got to allow time for you to be able to actually digest and understand that information. Some people will pick it up quicker than other people, but if you're struggling with that, keep reading the books, keep listening to podcasts, and any information that you can get that's going to help you to understand the concepts. I think that helps to set the realistic expectations with this when you understand how this all works. That's going to help you understand this all takes a lot of time. And when you read all the books and understand the concepts, you'll see why it can take so much time to change cells, to upregulate genes. And that is something that you do need to understand. So I recommend reading all the books, listening to podcasts where he explains the concepts to other people, and make sure you have that foundation understood before you try to move on or kind of skip ahead. Spend the time on that, and it's going to really help. What I realized with this is that consistency was really important. And when I miss days and when I just kind of fall back to my normal ways, I can feel myself slipping. I can feel myself not in as good mental state as I was. So I realized how important consistency was with this and making this into a regular practice. So consistency doesn't mean it has to be every single day for you if that isn't something that you're able to manage. But consistency is at least some agreement with yourself of how often you're going to do this. So you might decide you want to meditate on a Monday, Wednesday, Friday, or you have particular times of the day that you meditate and it's on a schedule. And that's really important because I think from what I've read and seen and from my own experience, a lot of results from the meditations come from people who were doing it consistently. And a lot of the time that was daily. So they were showing up in the morning and then in the evening. And that's how they were able to get a lot of results from this work. So if you don't have a consistent practice at the moment, I think it helps to schedule your meditations and do them at a time that works for you. So work around, your work schedule, your family routines, and work out where there's a gap of an hour that you can get these meditations in. And once you've got that consistent, that's going to help you to set the expectations that this is going to take time. It's going to take time to settle your body down, for your body to not just go into an autopilot, which it normally would on a given day without the meditations. So that really helps get a consistent routine in place and stick to it. It's easy to get excited when something's new and you do it for 2 months and then you stop. And that's what I realized with this, is when you stop, it's very easy to fall back into old patterns. So keep up the consistency, develop a schedule for yourself, and work it around what works for you. Whatever's going to be easy for you to do and maintain over months and years is how this is going to be the most effective. I think to stop yourself getting disheartened when you're not seeing the changes you want, it helps to set really small goals. And what I would do for this is just set a goal of, I will meditate 4 times a week, or I will pick this meditation and do them twice this week. Set some little goals around this rather than this constant focus on the outcome, because the outcome may take months, it may take years. You don't know what that is. And I think that's what can hold a lot of people back, is that you don't have a time frame for healing. And it's really important to understand that healing is individual as well. So what can work for one person may not work for the other person, or what works for one person in a 2-month time scale may take somebody else 6 months. So you've got to allow for the fact you're individual, the fact that your childhood, your upbringing, and all of your genetics play a big part in this as well. So you can take 2 people who have very different backgrounds and upbringings, and their healing time frames may vary quite a bit. So you can't compare yourself to other people who have healed at a retreat, which is where people go off for 7 days and meditate for like 8 hours a day and heal different diseases. If you're healing at home, which means you're doing all the meditations and this work at home, then that's a completely different environment. So don't be comparing yourself to people on testimonials, because that's a completely different setup. They're doing what is really a condensed, intense course of meditation on those retreats. And of course, they're getting a lot of the learnings as well. So keep focused on yourself. I think the testimonials are great for inspiration. They're great to see what's possible and what people are able to accomplish. And that is mainly what I would use the testimonials for. And if you're using them and kind of comparing yourself to the people on there and thinking, well, it hasn't worked for me yet, and I'm doing the meditations all the time, and it's only going to get you down. That's only going to become a roadblock for you on this. So use those people as inspiration and look up to them in that sense, but focus on your own healing journey. Don't be preoccupied with what other people are doing. I think that's really key with this, is to understand that your journey is going to be completely separate. It is based on your background, your childhood, the way you were raised, and all of those factors combined are going to give different results for different people. So be patient with yourself and be okay with where you're up to. And you can only start where you're up to at the moment. So you might be starting with this work from ground zero, from never meditating, from having no clue about quantum physics and how it all works. And that's absolutely fine. You've just got to be okay with where you're up to at the minute. And I think these things really help you set a realistic expectation with this. What I've noticed after 2 years of meditation is that the changes can be really subtle. So sometimes you can be looking for these massive changes in yourself with anything that you do. And the gym is a good example of this, or with exercise and fitness. You'll do a few classes and you're physically looking for the changes in your body as a result of this. And working out and eating healthily, the results normally compound over really weeks and months. And this is very similar. So you might see subtle changes in your body when you work out or if you go to the gym regularly, but the bigger results are going to come over the compounded fact that you keep showing up. So don't miss the subtle changes that are going on. And this could be things like synchronicities that you see. It could be that you keep seeing angel numbers. It might be that you're feeling more in tune with your own intuition. And all these things are really important. And I think they can get overlooked if you're trying to heal something or change big parts of your personality that have ultimately been ingrained for over 30 years in some cases. So don't discount the subtle changes that happen. And also, you can't see a lot of the changes that are going on inside of you. So if you've meditated for months and you feel that actually, nothing's changing, then I can guarantee you something in you has changed on a cellular level. And that's just the nature of physics. That's the nature of the body. It has to adapt and change when it is faced with different stimulus. So don't discount subtle changes, and just remember that things are going on that you can't always see. I think that really helps me to put this into perspective. When you're turning up for hour-long meditations, it can be difficult to sustain those, especially when you feel the same afterwards or you feel there's no fundamental changes. There is subtle changes going on. It's just that you need to be aware of that. So don't discount all the signs, synchronicities, and remember that inside of you, things are happening that you can't see. I found an old journal the other day and I'd written down some of my experiences from my early Blessing of the Energy Centers meditations. And I was really shocked by what I was reading because I haven't actually had some of the things happen to me that happened in those meditations since. I think because I was so new to it, they were really powerful at the time. But what really helps is to actually write down your journey with this. So every time you're doing your meditations, you're reading the books, keep writing down what you are learning from it. And ultimately, this really is about self-discovery. This isn't about healing specific things or anything like that. This is your personal journey of discovery. So I think it really helps to keep a journal on how you're doing and what you're learning along the way. Because I know for myself, I look back on it and think, wow, I've come a long way actually in 2 years in terms of my mindset. But I wouldn't have noticed that if I hadn't have actually documented some of the ways I was thinking then. So write down your feelings and thoughts on this whole process. Write down some of the different awareness that comes out of your meditations. And what I find in a lot of the meditations is that I get given to me kind of signs and my intuition starts really heightening and I get given messages. So that's really important, I think, to write those down as well. So you can look back on them. You can see exactly what you were thinking and feeling at the time. That helps you to show, how much you actually have grown in this time. You are growing and developing. And yeah, keep a journal, document it all, and it gives you something to look back on. For me, what I always do when I've started a new practice is to integrate it really slow. And I don't agree with just going in and meditating for 8 hours. I think it is great to just start really slowly with 20 minutes and keep building it up. So integrating it slowly, I think, helps to manage your expectations, because you're going to see that you need to keep showing up every day in order to get results. So this isn't I'm going to meditate for a couple of hours and then I'll meditate in a month. This is like a daily habit for life. And that's the mindset shift you want to have with this. You want to move away from the dabbler mindset, which is, okay, I'm going to give this a go. I don't think it's going to work for me. I'll do it for a month. And if it doesn't work, then I'm out, guys. I'm out. That is not the mindset and attitude that you want to have going into anything, really. If you want to fully see results and commit to it, you need to be committed for the long term. So a month is not long enough, really, for anything, especially this, to see much change. And yeah, you can get some nice immediate results with anything at the start, but ultimately long-term change is going to require you to keep showing up. So start slowly with this. I always say with meditation to be careful and don't just go into this with this urge to heal and this like pressure to meditate for 4 hours a day. At the beginning, I was doing silly things like that, where I was just overdoing it and overcooking it. And I really don't think it's good, especially if you're new to meditation, to be coming in really hot like that. I think start slowly, start with his shorter meditations, build it up, and that'll help you to understand that this is going to take you time. It's also going to help you build a better routine, because it's unlikely you're able to sustain 2 to 3 hour meditations every day, purely because you have other things to do. So, you know, if you have a job, if you have kids, if you have a house or a life to run, then it's unlikely you're going to be able to sustain that for a few years. So start slowly, integrate the concept slowly. I think with anything in the self-development world, and especially with this, a growth mindset is really helpful. And a growth mindset is where you're able to adapt to change, you're open to new ideas, you're open to new concepts, new ways of being. And this work is definitely, you know, one where you do need to have that kind of mindset, where you need to believe change is possible. You do need to have trust in, you know, the stuff you're reading and the science and the testimonials of other people on this as well. So if you're struggling with that, I would say just work on your mindset, work on, you know, if you have quite a fixed mindset at the moment, which is where you are quite stuck in your ways, you don't really see that there could be other options or other ways of doing things, then I think it's helpful even to just work on your mindset in the first instance. So look to ways that you can expand and grow your mindset, and look for evidence. If that helps you, look for evidence of people who have done the things you want to do, who have been able to overcome certain things. And a lot of this is in the books, it's in the testimonials. But gather that information for yourself, and, you know, keep believing this is possible for you to accomplish whatever it is you want to accomplish. And it might not be that you're trying to heal something, it might be that you're trying to manifest. Again, you can have the life you want. If you dream of a certain life, that is completely possible for you. So whatever we dream about and can conceive in our thoughts can actually become a reality. And the more you start to think like that, the more it's going to help you to move towards a growth mindset. So there's lots of other people who have documented this as well. So it isn't just Dr. Joe Dispenza who talks about a lot of these concepts. You can look at other books such as The Law of Attraction, Esther and Jerry Hicks, Dr. Wayne Dyer. There's so many authors out there who also cover a lot of these concepts as well. So don't limit your learning to just these books. Go out there, keep reading. And I think this all really helps to set your expectations with this work of what is possible. You know, there's huge possibilities with this if you keep showing up consistently, if you enjoy it. And I think the main goal really for me with this work is just the journey of myself. So meditation is all about to become familiar with. It's all about pondering and knowing yourself better. And ultimately, that is my goal with this work. It isn't to heal a specific thing, or it's not a hard and fast goal like that. My goal is lifelong with this. And I think thinking like that on a much longer time scale with this helps as well, because that helps to realize actually this isn't something that's going to be a quick fix. And especially in this society, we're all looking for instant gratification, and your healing journey isn't something where you'll be able to get that. Be aware of when you're just dabbling in this and you're not actually committed, and look at that. Keep questioning yourself if you find that you are kind of dabbling in this and you're not sure. Look at that first. Look at your mindset, and it helps to set your expectations. This is going to take you time, and that's okay. You're talking about changing genetics, and that requires you just chipping away every single day to be able to do that. Hope you enjoyed this video today. If you enjoyed this video, check out this video here.